One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. David Williams has been the athletic director at Vanderbilt since 2003, but David, your oversight responsibilities in Nashville have ranged beyond what most ADs around the nation, have on their plate. You've been the general counsel for the university secretary as well. I want to start by asking if you'll take us back to when you and Gordon Gee talked about the arrangement of your responsibilities back in 2003 and why it worked so well for the university for so many years.
Yeah, I can't remember the first day that Gordon and I had that discussion. It was sort of at some point in time, he had decided, probably after hearing me and others talk and thinking back to the days at Ohio State when we had tried to do some things to sort of integrate athletics back in. He had heard talk about it, and so he said one day, he called us in the management team and basically said that he thought we were going to make a change. And strangely enough, I don't think any of us really knew exactly where he was going with this. And I think he was concerned. I know he was concerned about the fact that even though the athletic department at Vanderbilt was probably as integrated as most in Division I, he was scared that it may be drifting off a little. So, it was the sort of thing that, we're going to have a new ideal, a new identity, and Dave go upstairs and figure out what it's going to be. And it was like, oh, what? And I kind of realized then, okay, not only do I need to have something to do with figuring out that I'm probably going to have some responsibilities on it. And so, I went up and said, well, if you want to integrate it back in, here are some of the things we should do. And I think one of the success of it is we started from a point of trying to look at our student athletes and compare them to Vanderbilt students and to see where the differences lied. So if you looked at our GPA, and remember, Vanderbilt had good graduation rates amongst its athletes and good GPA. I think at that time the average GPA was a 2.84 for our student athletes. That's good. But the average GPA of the student body was a 3.1. And so, it's that whole concept, you're good, but if the 2.84 was good and the 3.1 is great, is good getting in the way of great? Same sort of thing that I remember when we surveyed this, we looked at things like study abroad. Oh, maybe 67 to 72% of Vanderbilt students studied abroad, 0% of the student athletes. And I think that's what we tried to build off of is how do we basically move in a direction that our student athletes are getting as much of the same education, opportunities, and other opportunities as the student body. Now, initially everybody said we were crazy. You won't be able to recruit another student. All of the coaches will leave. Neither one of those took place, and I think part of that was I think people realized we were being true to what we were saying in our mission is that we really wanted to expand the opportunity for our student athletes. And I always thought that if you did that and you were true to it, your kids will actually perform better. And that's been the case. I mean, we didn't lose coaches, and I think our coaches like it here because they realize that we are looking at developing the whole person. And so that's kind of how it started. And, it wasn't smooth all of the time, and we have to go back and look at things. Last year we started an internship program because we got tired of our kids coming in as seniors when they realized, in particular football, when they would realize they weren't going to the league. Well, what am I going to do now? Well, at Vanderbilt, just about every undergrad graduates from here with one or two internships. But our athletes were graduating with none. What were we doing? We were throwing them all in summer school every summer. So how can we change that? And I think that that's been the whole portion of it is to kind of try to think out the box to solve those. And I think that our student athletes have appreciated that And I think our coaches have appreciated that. And so with that came more success on the field and on the court as well.
And then we're going to fast forward, and there's so much we could talk about in this 9 to 10 year gap between when you took over athletics along with your other roles, and then when you shed the titles of general counsel and university secretary. But I do want to fast forward, and in the press conference where the announcement was made with you and Chancellor Zeppos about taking a greater focus on athletics with your time, you specifically, you pointed to the future and you said it's a race to the top. Word for word, you said this is a race to the top, and you wanted to spend more time with student athletes. So let's look at the last 4 years since that move. Has it evolved as you expected? Did you have expectations about how you'd spend your time and how the programs would move forward under your guidance with more time to do so? How's that gone?
Yeah, it was. It's probably been even more important and more, if you want to use successful, than I even thought it was. And yeah, I spend an awful lot of time. What I like now and what I didn't have then is this is, I had 2 offices, and it's like, okay, is it Tuesday? Where am I supposed to be? And now I have 1 office. This is where I'm at. I'm in this building. The kids come in all of the time. I had a football player came in yesterday. He's going to graduate in December. He wants to go to law school. He has a 4-year commitment because he's in ROTC with the Marines, and just wants to talk about it. How can I handle it? And that goes on every day. So yes, the fact that I get to spend much more time with the student athletes has been maybe the greatest thing that's come out of that. I learned much more about who they are and how we can help them reach their goals. And some of those goals are, Chris Marr graduates, and should I go to the pros? I had a chance, or should I go to law school? Oh, by the way, I'm going to do Teach America. Now he's back here as one of our assistant coaches. Simone Charlie, who just missed making the Olympics team this year. And, she's our All-American in track and All-SEC in soccer. What do you want to do? We're talking now about, do you want to keep jumping and see about 2020, or do you want to move on to something else? But, yeah, to spend the time with them one-on-one and to spend time at their practices, at their games, at whatever they're doing has been the greatest part of it. And the race to the top of things is we won't be the best in everything we do. And, you just don't do that by doing it part-time.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you have a deeper engagement with your head coaches now?
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I see them, and depending on where they're located, basketball is over in Memorial and baseball is in the baseball diamond, and that's where those coaches are. Every other coach is in this building that I'm in. So I see all of those coaches if they're here, not out recruiting to something on a daily basis. I don't see baseball and basketball as much as maybe I would see bowling, whose office is right across from me, or golf or tennis tennis is in the other building, so I wouldn't see them as much. But yeah, there's not a week that goes by that I don't see all of the coaches. And before talking to you today, I just walked down to talk to the football coach. So yeah, I see them all of the time, and it's good, it's some days they probably don't want to see me, and some days I can do without seeing them. But for the most part, it's good, and that's how it should be. I meet with our freshmen, and I told them, I think if you want to really sum up, I told our freshmen from the day one when they get here, and a lot of our freshmen come here in the summer, I said, I don't want you to go one day without, and if you're asked the question, do you know your athletic director? I don't want you to spend one day here where you have to answer that question no. Mm-hmm. And in fact, when I get off the phone with you, I have a session with them. I have a session with our freshmen during the summer every Thursday. I meet with them for an hour and a half, and we just talk about whatever. I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Today's the last session because we're going in training. But no, I just think that's the most important thing I do is spend time. And it's not only with the players and the coaches, it's over the staff members. People, it's like 100 people who want to be ADs. And so they're coming in, hey, how do I do this? What do I do that? They'll come in and talk about job opportunities and, I like it here, but I have an opportunity to go be this over there. What do you think I should do? And I'm gonna be real honest.
And that's today's One Question, brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. One Question is designed to give D1 Ticker subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences. One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996.